landing where New York City once stood. In the 21st century, New York was a metropolis clogged with traffic, skyscrapers, and urban life. But 200 million years in the future, New York is just a small part of a giant desert. It is a desert of unreal extremes. Stretching for thousands of miles across the lone continent, it's over 5 times the size of the United States. Temperatures regularly hit 120 degrees. In some parts, 100 years pass without rainfall. Flying over this vast expanse is a bumble beetle. She's been searching the desert in vain for an entire day in hopes of finding a rotting flesh. Now, on the verge of death, she lands. Not to eat, but to lay her larvae, called grimworms. The grimworms chew their way through the flesh, doubling in size every 2 days. When they've had their fill, they construct cocoons underground and metamorphosize into bumble beetles. A newborn bumble beetle has just enough energy to last 24 hours. In that short time, she must find the flesh carcass and start the life cycle all over again. Further inland, some very different creatures are engaged in their own fight for survival. These bizarre-looking mounds dotting the desert are termite cities. Insects crawled with both dinosaurs and humans. So it's no surprise that they're still thriving 200 million years in the future. Inside the mounds are millions of future termites called terabytes. The colony is a highly disciplined, highly organized army of workers. Some terabytes are rock borers, which shoot acid to drill through the limestone to reach underground springs. Some are water carriers, so bloated they can't even walk. Other terabytes have to carry them. They transport the water to their greenhouses, where they grow gardens of algae, the principal food of the terabytes and their queen. And these terabytes have a critical job: collecting algae for the greenhouse. When vegetation is scarce, the only way to get it is to steal from other animals, like these incredible creatures, the garden worms. They're living leaves packed with algae. With the terabytes in hot pursuit, the garden worms slither for safety in desert pools. But the terabyte warriors manage to corner one garden worm. Using their remarkable arsenal of chemical weapons, they cloak the garden worm with sticky glue. The terabytes move in, but the garden worm struggles, and the glue gives way. But for the garden worm, safety is elusive. These are underground pools, gateways to a vast network of caves and caverns, and hidden danger. Out of the blackness emerges a 3-foot-long predator. It's a slick ribbon, patrolling its territory. The slick ribbon spots the garden worm. The chase is on. Paddles on each segment of the slick ribbon's body propel the monster worm through the water. Its mouth parts are mounted on an extendable trunk. As it closes in on its prey, it shoots out its jaws. The garden worm has one last defense. It releases a chemical cloud. The irritant temporarily blinds the slick ribbon, and the garden worm makes its escape. But there are plenty of others who aren't as lucky in the caves beneath the desert of the future. Time is running out for the bumble beetle. She has only one more hour left to live. She's traveled nearly 500 miles across the desert. Now, she's flying on reserves. But at long last, she picks up the scent of a rotting flesh. She prepares to land, only to find another bumble beetle heading for the same target. They dive, tumble, and turn in a mid-air dogfight. But finally, calling on her last energy stores, she drives her rival away. Now she can deliver her precious cargo. The baby grimworms slither into the rotting flesh. The bumble beetle's job is done. And slowly, she dies. The desert is silent. Signs of life are few. But on the other side of the mountains, another hypercane is brewing.